Hello, hello. Oh, can someone say something? You can hear me? Yeah, cool. All right. Hello, 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 hello. I'm waiting on a couple more people. Oh, what's going on with my teams here? All right. 1 second. Is this it? We got two. Someone just jump on the mic and say something because I don't know if I can hear anyone on my end. I'll just test my Ableton audio in the meantime. All right, that's cool. Yeah, fair enough. Solo. I got sound on my end. Okay, that's fine. I suppose we'll just slowly start, hey? Make sure this is the angles right. Hello. Yeah. Jesus. Hello. That doesn't work. It's a shame I don't like wearing button-up shirts, but yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Just stay there. All right. Cool. All right. Yeah, we'll just start and see what's up. Let me just do a couple things in the meantime. Okay. I'm going to start the recording and also fire up week 2. Teacher only sound designs. Week 2. Copy page 2. Content library. Oh, wrong book. There we go. Content library, sound designs. Cool. Okay, and then all right, quick question to the two of you that are present. Who's got a microphone, and if not, at least a smartphone that can record? Just thumbs up, react. Got one. Callum? I know you said you don't have a mic set up, but do you have a smartphone you can record something with? Bunch of mics. So you got. It is possible, is what you're saying. Good. Oh, we have someone else. We got Morgan. Hello. Can't hear yet. Oh, wait, hang on. It is my end. Let me just change something. Audio settings. M4. All right. I can hear you. Good. Sweet. Good. Brilliant. Okay, cool. Let's get on with it. We're missing Tim, right? I'm not good with names yet. I feel like we're missing one or two more. Either way, we're going to talk about samples in more detail. And even from this week onwards, we have a chance to essentially start saving sounds for our sample pack. So I know I got a question from Callan about the sample pack already, but I figured I'd wait to answer it here. And yeah, about the quiz thing, Callan, I got you. I'll sort that out later today. It's been a really crazy morning so far of all sorts. So I'm going to jump on Teams. We're going to jump on to, where's our team? Team, 1B. Class work. So remember, classwork is the key. That's for everyone, for every unit here. Now, I'm going to officially launch this assessment. And, oops, wrong screen. It's going to be week 14, which is 2 weeks after the break. So I'm going to call it Sunday, 31st of May. I'm going to launch this 31st of May. Bam, 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 bam. Okay. So this is where we'll officially see the assessment in the list. So anyone who was wondering what you had to do, well, you didn't know what to do because I didn't give you the assessment yet officially. Now I am. So let's try and clear up any confusions, because sometimes there are some things that kind of come up, especially later when people don't listen. So you have one job. You're meant to make a sample pack. So not to be confused with presets. We're making a sample pack. So in other words, we're exporting the sounds we make. And note I said sounds. I don't want songs. Your other classes, they may request songs, whatever. I only care about sounds. Oh, was that a hand? Who that? Is that Tim? Hello? Hey. Yeah, I can hear you. Question? That's totally cool. And on top of that, I'm recording the lesson, so I'll pop up links for everyone here to the, not just this semester's recordings, as we go on, but also previous semesters. So if you just want to nerd out and see how bad I was, and then see my progression. Well, essentially, it's just you can see the same content but delivered in various ways, right? Because every semester is different. But yeah, you'll have a catalog of lessons. So if you can't make it, or you're not fully there today, that's totally fine. There's plenty of chance for review. Okay. Yeah, good. But let me talk about it. Yeah. So the first kind of strange part you see is the assessment is to either collaborate with either your classmates or your instructor. So obviously, if you haven't figured out, TAFE is trying to get you ready for the industry. And while it might seem lame to role play, where else are you going to prepare yourself to be good? It's not like you jump in and do a task with a professional and hope it goes well and learn on the job, which is one way. You can also do this course and get ready for that situation, because while this is a role play, this is also a real scenario, right? So you have two options now. You either want to do this assessment yourself, or you can join up in a group. And in the past, and I'll do it again this semester, I made it permittable to team up with someone who goes to Ultimo face to face. So if you're around the hood and you've got friends who are going to campus, you have that option to work with them, because not only your group, but you have two other groups of students who are doing it face to face, the same subject, and you may be allowed to group up with them, which could be fun, right? Now, of course, this throws up some logistical situations, so I'll try and make it easy for you. If you do it yourself, then you're making 23 sounds yourself. Yeah, 23 sounds, and don't worry, we'll get to that part, right? Obviously, the major benefit is you learn everything in theory, and you're giving it a red hot go, yeah, which is great. But obviously, it means more work for yourself. But the major benefit, I would say, if you use it wisely, is that because if you choose to do it by yourself, then therefore you are working with me, as in I am your boss in this scenario. Does that make sense? So I'm the one that's saying, hey, so-and-so, you have a job. Here's a job. What I need from you. Boom. Give me some samples. And when you're done with the first round of samples, send them to me for feedback. Let me check your work. Let me make sure you're on the right ballpark. Let me see if I can catch any problems, or maybe you can make something better. You hear what I'm saying, right? So when you're dealing with that, then chances are you'll get to a situation where the sound you make is cool, or various degrees of cool, not so cool, really cool, whatever. Either way, you'll get my pretty handy advice. I'll tell you how to improve it with the knowledge I know how, right? Which obviously opens the avenue for more learning, right? So you get a real kind of like, yeah, you get me. I don't need to explain, right? So that's the benefit. Whereas if you're doing a group, which is at this point, maximum group size is 3 people, max. If you're doing it in that situation, then you have to give each other feedback and you have to document this. Okay. But the benefit of sorts is that you can split the work multiple ways. So if you're in a partnership or you're doing it in a trio, then of course you in theory can do a handful of sounds as opposed to 23 sounds all up. Now, anyone unsure what I just talked about there? Does that make sense? The 2 options. Just give me a thumbs up, react. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Now, after that quick little explanation, who's already thought I'm going to do this solo or group work? Maybe put in the chat. What's your first impression? Do you think solo is the way to go? Or teams? We got solo for Callan and Jackson. Morgan and Busy Tim and Angie. Angie? Hi, Angie. Welcome. Welcome to the class. Good to see you again. Yeah, I can hear you. Yep. Yeah, the fact is we've already got 3 solos, which kind of makes it hard to form groups now. But generally speaking, I must say, there's only been once once in the past year and a half that someone from online did a group situation. It's just logistically quite hard to stay on top of. Yeah. Especially if you don't know each other well, there's a chance that you're like, hello, can you reach out? Where did you disappear to? Oh crap! Then you end up being in limbo and not starting the assessment when you meant to anyway. So I'm just going to hazard a guess that everyone's going to be doing solo. Yeah, let's just tentatively nod. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, marinate on that thought anyway. Yeah, good one, Tim. Sweet. All right, so we'll skip that bit. Then you got to create some sounds. Now, I'm going to quickly pull up Splice within Ableton. I want this to be clear. I'm kind of getting sick of this, right? I'll tell you what I'm talking about before I go on my rant. So I asked this question last lesson. I asked if there's anyone using Splice or those type of things, right? Notice when I type in a type of sound in Splice, okay, I am sharing my screen, yeah, I am. And let me just resize myself here because I look ridiculous taking up the whole bloody screen. 1 second, settings. Where did that go? Here. Camera, zoom, appearance. I don't know how to change it. Beautiful, cool. Good. All right, so I want to make it clear. Can you see this, everyone? See this naming within Splice here? Can I zoom in, please? Yep, sweet. Name of the company or artist, name of the instrument, and a descriptive name, title, right? So Mix Ready is the company, it's a kick, and it's given the name Ghost Knock. Company, catalog, type of sound, name, title. Yeah, 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 yeah. What I don't want to see anymore, because even though I say this every bloody semester, I still get sounds. I'm going to throw in the chat an example of what I see. Sound one, which is very helpful. I hate that. I don't want to see that anymore. And the worst thing is when people don't actually rename their titles. They just kind of leave the name of the project. So it'll be something like, I just use my name as an example. Dave underscore True underscore name of the project. TAFE sample pack 2025 from last year. And audio track one, because you forgot to name the file, or forgot to name the track, right? If I see this, I'm going to be very displeased, right? I want to see, oh, sorry, I should point that out on the chat. If I see this, I'd be very displeased. Or this, right? I don't want to see that no more. We're trying to be pros here, right? Whether you want a job in the sound design industry or not, you're doing a course for a reason, I thought. You know, you're trying to skill up. So we're trying to get you. No. We don't have to use Splice at all. I'm just using Splice as a reference point for the naming. And we'll worry about this once you actually make some sounds, yeah? But I'm just saying, when you get to the point where you're creating your sounds and you're saving them, getting ready to submit the samples by week 14, I don't want to see dodgy names. I want to see, just say, for example, let's just say you're making this, Morgan. You have the option of putting it either as Morgan Irvine, or if you have an artist name, you can do that as well. But following the convention of a professional setup like Splice or Loop Cloud, doesn't matter, because all the professional websites do this. They go blah blah blah, kick underscore. Let's just think of a nice creative name. Ludicrously loud, like that. That I'd be extremely happy to see. For me, I actually do have a company that's not launched yet. I'm just stashing a lot of sounds. So my artist name is Perchance, but the little company idea I have is going to be Perchance Creations. And why I chose that is because it's going to stand for PC, which makes it easy. So for my stuff, I'll do PC, bass, Reese. I'll just call it Super Reese. And some of you won't get that reference yet, but some of you know what I'm talking about. That's a professionally labeled sample. Okay. So we'll talk about it more once we get deeper into like the work. But I'm just warning you, I don't want to see crappy naming, right? Unfortunately for you, for everyone present, this is like maybe the 6th or 7th semester of me teaching this, and rewriting this and making this assessment. And my intention is real. My intention is to make you ready, or at least more professionally standard, to a professional standard when it comes to sound design, right? And yes, we don't deal with audio track 1 and 2 and 3, right? I want you to be clear. I want you to be intentional. Intentional, not just in sound design, but intentional in naming and organization. It all helps at the end of the day, yeah? Anyway, I'm going to stop myself before I get too passionate and just rant even for longer. Where am I up to? Yep, cool. All right, so here's the sounds brief. 5 kicks, 5 snares, 5 tops. My son's home. And It sounds silly when I say this, but I'm very serious when I say this. The first rule, rule number one of sample pack, you must not use the literal literal sound of the instrument as the sample, i.e., you've taken a kick drum sample and modified it slightly and then submitted that. Cool, come and I'll check that in after the class. All right, so you read what I wrote there. Rule one of sample pack assessment: must not use the literal sound of the instrument. So basically, not kick for kick. I will not accept that. I just won't. All right, we're not that stage. We're better than this. Okay. So yeah, no kicks for kicks, no snares for snares, no tops for tops, no basses for basses. We're being better than that. We're being creative. We're upscaling. Okay. So what does that mean? So you're either going to be creating the kicks from scratch using a synthesizer, or as you'll find out today, you can record certain sounds around you to help create samples. And it's not as hard as you think. Yeah. That's why I'm saying there's no excuse for literal sound for sound. We are creating it from scratch. Likewise, rule number two, and I mentioned this last week, I'm pretty sure. Rule two of sample pack. This is a big capital. No presets allowed. And I will know. No presets allowed. Right? And rule number three. Why do I keep writing rules? I don't know what that is. Rule three of sample pack. If you're not using Ableton stock instruments, if you're not using Ableton, I should say, analog, drift, operator, wavetable, meld, and you are using a third party instrument, you must check with your teacher. Okay, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this quickly last time, but basically a lot of you are just going full steam ahead with Ableton, which is good. So we'll get to the stage where we'll be able to create all the sounds we require with the Ableton instruments. Yeah. But if you're like a Serum Pro or you want to learn more about Serum, then just check with me. And actually, you don't even need to check with me because Serum 1000% qualifies as an instrument that you can use because it's a true synthesizer. I just don't want to see any presets. No, good one, Callan. I just hope they're all from scratch. Yeah, just from init. Yeah. Good. All good. And you got nothing to worry about. Yeah. If you're like anti-Ableton, which power to you. I never said that you had to use Ableton this class, my class. Just check with me because while I'm pretty across a lot of instruments in other DAWs, the ones I'm more unfamiliar with, I will check to make sure they're not Rompler based or sample based. Yeah, I'm only accepting either the stock sampler with your audio, and that'll make sense over the next 2 weeks when we explain it, or a true synthesizer, not something that is Rompler based. And in the near future, I'll explain what a Rompler is and why I think it's great, but also there's a major flaw when it comes to using it for tasks like this one. Okay. Anyway, clear? Any questions thus far? Yep, moving on then. Yeah, the naming thing, I mentioned it here again. Yep. This used to be more of an important deal. I don't really care, to be honest. I care more about the professional naming convention. It used to be you had to talk about like what genre you're trying to do, and because I'm so anti-genre, I'm gonna delete this point. So basically, part one is to choose to collaborate or not, which sounds like everyone's doing solos. Step two is to make the sounds and name them very well. Okay, then organize them into a folder, and I need to see screenshots of your organization. I need I need you to export those sounds. And here's something that's extremely important. And yeah, Callan, I hope you haven't exported anything yet too much, because this is a very important point. I'm very specific about this, so hopefully everyone's paying attention. For your drums, I expect only one-shot samples. You know, so imagine a kick, a snare, hat, right? I don't want loops, I want one shots. Yeah, a single hit of that sound. So one kick, one snare, one top. All right. Don't give me oons, 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 oons. Please don't. Right. Just like how you look up a kick in Splice. Yes, they'll give you some loops, but predominantly they'll give you one shots because most people just need the one shot, right? And plus, I'm asking you, right? I'm your client. I am specifying I only want one shot samples. So listen to the damn instructions. I sound a bit spicy today. I don't mean to be, but I want to be clear as possible. No joke, right? Short loops for melodic elements. So I don't want one shot bass, lead, or pad, which is these sounds. So I asked for two bass sounds, two pad sounds, and two lead sounds. I don't want one shots for that. I want loops, but short loops. Don't give me a 16 bar masterpiece. Don't waste your time. Give me 2 bars, 4 bars. 4 bars is plenty. And in around 4 or 5 weeks, when we maybe do some synthesis, I will show you a smart strategy on how to do this assessment, but I might as well tell you now if you're curious. I don't care if you use the same chords and melody and bass for the others, for all the other sounds. Does that make sense? Like you got 2 pads to make, just use the same chord progression for both pads. Use the same little lead melody for both leads. Use the same bass melody, bass line for both bass sounds. Like, don't overwrite. I don't care about the melody, the musical content. I just need to hear it in action. Okay, so I'll make that clear again. Drums are one shots. The melodic sounds, bass, lead, and pad, are short loops, 2 bar, 4 bar tops. Camera record sounds like make them from that, was a more plugins from scratch. Yeah, I haven't mentioned the actual mechanics of creation, but to answer your question, yes. And today's lesson is about recording sounds live. So hopefully, if you don't mind me bothering you for maybe potentially 5 minutes, I'm going to get everyone to stand up from their table and record stuff. But we'll get to that. Let me finish this first, yeah? So yeah, kicks, snares, and tops. I don't specify how you made it. So in other words, you can use that. You can use samples or synths to create them, provided that you don't use a kick drum for a kick drum, right? And like I said, I will know. I'll find out. which sounds a bit scary when you're like, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to record something sounds like a kick? Damn, what do I do? Like, trust me, I'll give you the mechanics to find random sounds seemingly, but how to convert them into kicks. The melodic sounds, these ones, 2 bass sounds, 2 pads, and 2 leads. And don't worry so much yet if you don't know what that means. I'll explain that when we get to it in next week. Yeah. But this is especially for you, Callan, since you're already given a red hot go. But I think you just worked on drums, right, Callan? Regardless, for the bass, leads, and pads, you are to do one of those sounds generated from a sample, and the other one generated from a synthesizer. Okay, that's good, Callan. So in other words, for example, I want 2 bass sounds, right? But one of them has to be sampled bass, sampled, and the other one synthesized. The pad, sampled, synthesized, lead, sample, synthesized. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, a part of the providing evidence, which we'll get to. You're gonna need to send me screenshots of how that stuff was made. Yeah. Cool, 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 cool. I know it's quite wordy. I might edit this a bit, right? But hopefully you get what I'm talking about. And don't fret. We kind of almost mention it every week until now, until the end. So every chance of this becoming more clear over time. There's a couple strong worded notes here. In Shorten use modulators, but we don't know what modulators are yet collectively. So we'll talk about that soon. In Shorten use audio effects. Again, you probably do that all the time, but let's talk about it together first, and then talk about how that pertains to the assessment. Basically, I want you to give yourself do some honest hard work, right? And it's not hard; it's fun, right? This is all very fun. Part 2 of the assessment. So it's a 2-parter. I mentioned that last week. So you got the practical element, which is to make the sounds. Then you have the report, which is boring. But all it means is take a bloody screenshot of Ableton or the DAW you're using. Take a screenshot of the instruments you're using specifically, and just write a little blurb, not a full essay, just a little blurb on how you made it. That's it, right? The other important part of it is, since most of you'll be working by yourself, which is great. That means when you do your first round of sounds, when you make your drums and synth sounds, whatever, you send them to me. You only need to send me 2. I should stipulate that because I only need to hear 2. Yeah, I forgot to mention that because that's kind of there's a TAFE explanation for that. But anyway, you only need to send me 2 sounds for me to check your work, and then I'll provide feedback. And then you need to revise those sounds. That's why if you do some quick mathematics, that's why it goes 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17, plus 2 is 19, plus 2 is 21. But previously I said 23 sounds because it's 21 sounds plus 2 additional ones resultant from the feedback I give you. Okay? By sample, do you mean make a patch in a synth and bounce to an audio, or actually recorded? Actually recorded audio, or you take a sample that's not literal. And again, I will do these things. We just haven't done stuff together yet. Besides, messing about with audio in a very simplistic way. We haven't used a sampler yet. This will make sense once we do more stuff. Okay. So in other words, eventually, I'll show you how to take a recorded sample of a sine wave tone, like a test tone, and I'll show you how to take that tone to turn it into a bass line, a kick drum, a snare drum, a top percussion, and a pad and a lead. Like we can make all those sounds with one sample, for sure, right? But you gotta just bear with me, yeah. So yeah, it's wordy. I'm gonna take out some words by next week, but I want you to start thinking about this stuff. It seems like you already made the decision to go. my microphone. Um, you made this decision to go solo, which is great. That makes it easy. We can just work forward. So let's get to the content. I spoke for far too long without actually teaching proper. So we want to continue. Yeah, cool. So we played around with some audio from last week, and can anyone tell me, either type or yell out into the mic if you got mics, um, what when we put the sound, so the audio into our projects, into Ableton last week, what were the three parameters of sound that we were changing, thanks to the editing options within Ableton, right? There were three things. So yeah, what were the three parameters which are pitch, gain, reverse? Nice. Yeah. Anyone lost? Right. That's all you did, right? You did pitch, volume / gain, and reverse playback. Cool. So just remember that's already super powerful, because we're gonna take those things and move beyond. All right. Now, before we do, if you look at the notes here, you can see more explanations about samples. You can read that in your own time. It's not that fantastical, although quick little sidestep into copyright. You're going to do copyright if you haven't already. Have you already done copyright actually? Yeah? Okay. Let's see. Let's see if you learn anything in copyright, because I know it's such an interesting subject that attention is maximum in. What is the state of copyright when it comes to sampling sounds from other artists? Oh, you're doing it this semester. Okay, fair enough. Well, I'll give you the shortcut. Even better, right? So, well, my bloody mic is dangling. You can read that. Obviously, you can read that in your own time. But I'll give you the professional spiel, right? And take this not with a grain of salt. Take this verbatim, almost. Yeah. The law is vague by definition, right? And I can quote the law. The law is you are not permitted to utilize an existing piece of music. And actually, there's this part in the middle I forgot there. You're not permitted to use a recognizable part of an existing piece of music. You can look it up in your own time, but that's the law. I may have got one or two words wrong, but I definitely did not get the recognizable part wrong, right? Does that sound vague to anyone here? You're not permitted to use a recognizable part of an existing piece of music. Does that sound vague? The answer is yes. Yeah, 100% yes. Who judges what is recognizable? Is it as obvious as taking, a Beatles song, any Beatles songs? They're pretty recognizable, right? A judge. No, a judge doesn't know. It's up to the defendants, right? When you get sued. I'll make it easy for you. Basically, if you just look in the last 5 years, you've seen two massive cases of massive artists who had to deal with this, right? For example, Pharrell and Robin Thicke, Blurred Lines. Anyone know that song? Anyone know that case? If you do, give me a quick little sentence of what you know about it, right? If you don't know, that's cool, but it's very interesting, and it's very interesting just to learn from, right? Sounds like no one really knows. Necessarily, I don't see anyone typing. Pharrell, pretty big name. Robin Thicke, big underground name. He was very highly respected, but it took him a while to kind of break through to the masses. Pharrell helped him do that. despite it being a problematic song in terms of lyrics, and that's a whole other issue. The issue was the song was heavily inspired by Marvin Gaye, although it might have only just been subconsciously inspired. Either way, the problem was the beat kind of sounded like another section in a Marvin Gaye song. If you're in the industry, you would already know that while Marvin Gaye himself was an absolute gentleman, everyone loved him. He was a beautiful musician, but as a person, a lot of people had high praise for him. The Marvin Gaye Foundation are pure evil. They literally survive off by court cases by saying, "Oh, you sounded a little bit like Marvin Gaye. You're slightly referencing him. We want all the cash." So that song, because of the Marvin Gaye Foundation, and because the music in Blurred Lines kind of sounded like Marvin Gaye, both Pharrell and Robin Thicke did not earn a dollar until the entire millions or whatever ridiculous amount they claimed for was covered to them, to the Marvin Gaye Foundation, and then after. So currently, it's still got a lot of streams on Spotify. They probably maybe just earned about 10 grand, maybe. Who knows? Because just on the bare weight of the streams, or maybe they just barely paid it back. Who knows? Either way, it was a bad deal. The other case is Ed Sheeran, who was what? He was here over the weekend, wasn't he? Ed Sheeran. What did he do? What did he get in trouble for? He got in trouble for playing a chord progression that is present in thousands of other songs. I forgot who put the case against him, but basically the argument was, "Oh, this song sounds like my song." Well, idiot, the only thing recognizable is the chord progression, right? Ed Sheeran said that if he was to lose the case over a chord progression, he would quit music. He was doing the rounds around the time. Thankfully, he didn't. For better or worse, if you're not an Ed Sheeran fan, you're probably like, no, more cheesy music. But for me, I'm like, yay, go music. Go Ed Sheeran. You beat him. Because you can't copyright chords. But do you see what I'm trying to say here? The law is vague. Ed Sheeran got in trouble because of a chord progression that's very standard in pop music. Right? So what am I trying to tell you is that just freaking do it. Just sample anything and everything, but put some work to it, because at the end of the day, no one really has a solid argument for recognizable unless you're stupid like The Verve, who came up with the song Bittersweet Symphony in the early 2000s, and all they did was literally took a section out of a Rolling Stone song. They didn't change it. They didn't pitch it up and down. They didn't chop it. They left it alone. And while they did well in the charts, they also had to give all their money towards Rolling Stones. That was stupid, right? So that's stupid sampling. That's ill-advised. And of course, I'll say right now, it's ill-advised for me to say, look, just go ahead and do it. There is a smart way to sample. The smart way to sample is quite literally, if you're going to choose a piece of music from somewhere, you should get in touch with the label that owns the copyright. You should get in touch with the artist as well that wrote the song. And you should request permission and offer a split. So offer a split of your earnings to them, right? Now, before you say, but I'm just starting, no one knows who I am, which may be a very fair situation. The fact is, you open the communication lane. So if they turn around and say, give me $10 million, which again is very rare because you have to be Pharrell or Ed Sheeran for people to want that much money off you. You can say as a defense, well, I tried reaching out. I'm trying to negotiate, right? That advice comes from a guy named Egon, who I had a wonderful amount of chats with. He's very knowledgeable in the world of sampling because he was the manager at Stones Throw Records. Stones Throw, if you're a hip hop head, you might know that's a label that Jay Dilla and Madlib were heavily involved in, where they released a lot of music and they sampled a lot. So that's probably the best source of sample based advice you can get. And their not their advice, what they do is they, before they publish a song, Jay Dilla or Madlib, they'll use various snippets of samples. They do all these cool things to it. They chop it up, manipulate, whatever, but they still contact the label and the artist, ask for permission, offer a split. Ask permission, offer a split. And sometimes the label will just ignore them. Sometimes the label will be like, "Sweet, you're offering me 20%. Oh, just give me two. It's fine." The amount of times Egon told me that, how they either got ignored or just pushed down to like an even better deal, is because it is ridiculous. So the fact is they just covered their tracks, right? And look, the other smart ways is, and the smarter way of using AI technology is to use the technology currently to cover samples, and then use that. Or you can use websites like TrackLib. TrackLib, which I pop in the chat. That TrackLib, Google that. TrackLib is a subscription service, not unlike Splice, but it behaves more like an online record store. And they actually have legal licenses for sampling. So if you listen to a song on TrackLib, you might find songs that are quite big and classic, but they offer very reasonable split deals in upfront payments. So maybe something like $100, and plus maybe like 5%, 10% splits for 15 seconds or 30 seconds of a sample that you can release. And if you know sampling, you don't need more than 30 seconds half the time, right? You only need little snippets most of the time, right? Anyway, we'll get to that. But what I'm trying to say is copyright, don't be scared of it at all. Please don't be scared. Just be smart and revel in the fact that, unless some of you are underground stars now that I don't know, I'm sorry. If you got millions of streams and you got a massive fan base, I apologize. But I presume that everyone here is kind of like freshish. So therefore, the likelihood of you sampling a song and getting the dreaded emails or knocks on the doors that, hey, give me 10, give me 20 grand, give me 30 grand because you used a 5-second sample, the chances of that are next to none, right? Unless all of a sudden you're collaborating with, I don't know, Delta Goodrem or something, or Guy Sebastian, and the song comes out on radio, then maybe there'll be a problem. But then in that case, you'll be like, before you release this, unused a sample. Can we clear it first? Still good. Yeah. I wouldn't think you'll get sued, but with AI on streams and getting a copyright strike and getting your song taken out is more likely. Yeah, but there's a difference between like AI generated music versus using AI, like for example Suno to cover. It's kind of like that gray area, right? If someone just puts prompts and makes a new song, it's, you know, that's where you will get a different type of copyright strike. Whereas if you use AI to become a session muso to cover an existing piece of music, which you then sample and then you chop into millions of bits, there's an extra layer of what sample you're using here. There's it's harder to trace. Obviously, that sounds a bit more spicy, but that is an option that some people use to get music that's kind of being replayed to be used for samples. And speaking of which, the more legitimate way, which I know quite a lot of other artists do, but they're kind of established already. People go to places like Fiverr, or there's other companies besides Fiverr and even more reputable, where their only job is to cover bands, and then with that you can cover a piece of music and then use it for sampling purposes. Getting stripes from use which are already coding on the release music. Oh, that's different. That's different. I know that situation very well because I heard of artists within my circles getting in trouble with that. That's a different thing. That's that's another issue that resides not in Splice alone, but other companies, other sample library companies, where you can't assume that all samples are royalty free, even though you paid for it. You have to check the licensing and making sure that the samples that you're using within that pack are royalty free, because not all samples within the sample pack that you bought may have the same license. There might be some sounds that are stipulated as not royalty free. They're more for promotional slash educational purpose. So the number of artists that got in trouble over the last few years from using splice loops, it's not true that it's splice loop. They actually use things like the song starter sections, right, or the demo song, right. So it's essentially the same old problem of lazy sampling, right? Anyway, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Every time I talk about copyright, I end up going on a spiel. I don't want to waste your time, right? I just summarize it by saying, be smart, don't be lazy. And when in doubt, ask around, right? Cool? Yeah. And yeah, it's funny because if you think about it, that's so stupid. In the case of the Verve, they grabbed the Rolling Stones song and they didn't change it. Stupid. The recent problem of splice, lazy splice usage, they took the demo song, they took the song starter. It said song starter. You're meant to use it as an inspiration starter, but you're meant to kind of get rid of it. You're not looping that song starter and calling it your own. That's stupid. Anyway, all right, moving on. All right, let's actually get to the fun stuff. So, I'm going to get you, or if you don't mind, I'm going to give you. Is it 6:25? 15 minutes is a lot. I'll give you 10 minutes. I'll give you 10 minutes to do something for me, right? Um, Basically, I want you to pull out your phone or a microphone. Probably phone's the easiest. Let's just stick to phones. Everyone's got a smartphone, I presume, unless you're rocking a brick phone. If that's the case, I'm jealous. I wish I'd gone back to brick. Smartphones are killing me. I want you to record some sounds, and I'm going to stipulate what sort of sounds that you're going to record. Oh, I see you got a mic thing there, Morgan. Nice. That looks good. That looks good. What is that? Is that a Rode something? I can't see that well. You're muted. Either way, I'll type in what I want. Sound recording exercise. Ah, it's a fidget spinner. All right. Well, you're gonna record that. You're gonna record that for me, yeah. But let me tell everyone what I want them to do, yeah. 1 second. Oh, excuse me. I'm very annoyed with my face right now. Go away, face. All right, better. Sound recording exercise. You are to record 3 types of sounds. So that's 3. And 1 bracket, a pure sound, i.e. a glass bottle tone. Okay. A percussive sound, i.e. A closing of bin lid and a loop, i.e. Morgan's fidget spinner over 2 bars. Right. So this is kind of vague because I'm saying a pure sound. When I say pure, I mean pure in terms of harmonics, which we'll talk about more. But basically, think of something that has a nice, stable but clear tone. That's going to be a bit tricky because the first thought when it comes to recording sounds is you start smacking everything around you. Oh, no, that's okay. Okay, that's good. There's going to be a smack because you're going to go boom, but at least there's a tone there, which is perfect for number one. If any of y'all have instruments in the house, guitars, pianos, obviously that's a cheat code. That's an easy, pure tone for you, so good for you. If you're a singer that can hold a tone, hold a key, pitch, then you can use yourself. The percussive sound is easy. That's the fun one. That's the stuff that you kind of knock about. But I just want one hit of that. So whether you drop a set of keys, drop a vape like I did, you know, smack your pillow, that'd be cool. But I just want one shot of it. It's kind of like making one shot sample. And the loop, I just want an untimed, so it doesn't have to be perfect in timing. It doesn't have to be in a gun rhythm. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to do that. But at least long enough, right? Not too long, but 1 bar, 2 bars again. And that could literally be like, here I got my USB, right here, USB that opens and closes. It could be literally this. It's not timed, but I just want a little bit, roughly 2 bars over 100 BPM or something. Doesn't have to be on time, right? Because I need to stress this. Does not have to be on time because we'll make it on time. All right? Any questions? Anyone unsure what I just mentioned there? All right? Don't be shy. If you know what to do, give me a thumbs up react. I'll do it too. Remember to click the react button, thumbs up. If you're clear on what you need to do, thumbs up react for me. I got a thumbs. Yeah, cool. Tim's probably packing boxes. Yeah, cool. All right. I'll give you all 10 minutes. Okay. I'll say 10 minutes starting from 6:31. So therefore, we'll come back at, just in case Tim is moving stuff around, at least he's not confused when he returns. So 10 minutes starting from it, we'll come back. Now go forth and record those 3 sounds. Just leaving evidence for young Timothy. All right, everyone, go for it. I'm going to go on mute unless anyone has any questions. But yeah, use these 10 minutes wisely. Record 3 things. If you don't record too many things, record 3 good things, as good as possible. All right? Have fun. That's an awesome idea, Callan. I also have some ragu sizzling on the stove. It's a good idea implementing kitchen noises. The kitchen is wonderful for a lot of musical things. Yes, please. So everyone, please send them to me. If it's on your phone, airdrop it or transfer it to your computer. Attach it to this chat. I'll put them all together and I'll show you what we can do with them. So good foley sounds, smashing glass and water sounds and stuff for hiding in the kitchen. Hell yeah, hell yeah. I'll show you all what's possible. So basically an extreme example of what you can do with these found sounds. Okay. So first of all, incoming audio movers link for everyone. So keep an eye on the chat. We did this last week. We'll do it again. Almost every week we'll do this. This is how we listen to my Ableton. Yeah, you got glass to smash. Just do it safely. Obviously, a bit of OHS involved. Every time I do this, because I do this in face-to-face classes as well, the amount of gentle destruction my students do to the TAFE campus is kind of funny. Oh, bin smack, that's a great one. We love a good bin smack, loop thing, sizzle. I said 3, Callan. You couldn't help yourself, could ya? Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, I'll show you something. So in class, one time in class, I took a sample recording of something, which I'll play the music first so you can hear, and I turn it to a piece of music in front of everyone. Great. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I only got 2 people on Audio Movers, so I want everyone to jump on Audio Movers, jump on your chat, upload your samples, and also jump on the Audio Movers link I put in the chat. I'll play a song. I just got to remember where I put it. So 2020 Dropbox, my music. What year was it? Was it a while ago now? I think so. So well. So I actually released this song a couple of years back. This one. Cool. I still only have 2 people on the listen to link, so make sure you clicked on that, everyone. This is to hear my Ableton at high quality. Click on that, say start listening. Click on start listening now. I haven't played anything yet, but just get ready. And then I'll start this. We got 3. Maybe we're just waiting on Tim, perhaps, but let's just see. All right, so I'll reveal now. Hey, you there? Good. Cool. So Callan, you joined. Jackson, Morgan joined Audio Movers. Make sure you jump on that link. Yep, Jackson, good. So either Callan or Morgan, just make sure you join into this Audio Movers link so you can hear my Ableton. And then I can start. Oh, there you go, that looks good. Cool. So this song I'm about to play, I'll review or reveal what the sample was. I made the song using a vocal sample, which is that's just to add some musicality to it. But the rest of the song, including the drums, everything else you hear comes from this bottle. And I had a bit more water in it, but I was thirsty. So basically, I recorded my a single hit of me going like this, right? And the other hit was this, just screwing the cap on. So I recorded two samples, and I used a vocal sample to make this song. I'll just skim through it real quickly. Everyone can hear that? That's coming in, that little harmony sound. And yes, even that arpeggio, they all come from the bottle. So hence why the track's called So Well, So Well, because that's the brand. That's the brand of my bottle, in backwards, sweat. Not saying it's a masterpiece, but hey, it made me make a track. You know, sometimes it's hard to make a track. Sometimes you just need to record something around you and turn it into a piece of music, and you start feeling creative, and you make more music, and you get better at making music. Anyway, that's too philosophical. Get my point. So, Jackson and Morgan, you got samples for me? I got samples from Cullen and Tim. Can you upload your samples? You don't have to. It's just that. You put it into Ableton. Oh, so you record it into a mic. Okay. So export it just during the week. Just send it to me eventually, because I want to collate all your samples, everyone's samples. Because just so you know, what I like to do is I like to clean them up, trim them, edit them slightly so they're quite strong. And I like to help everyone out by making some examples of kicks, snares, basses from your samples that you can use as a reference points. And when I clean up the samples and make them louder and cleaner as well, you can use those as a starting point for your own sound creation. Okay? So yeah, just send it to me eventually. Same with you, Jackson. Yeah? Okay, so I've got some sounds here. Let's make a new folder so it's a bit neater. Is it going to let me make a new folder? Yes, new folder. 2026 S1 online samples. So bin smack. that sounds good. Sounds good, Callan. What have we got? Gas drum. Oh yeah. What else we got? We got loop thing. Loop thing, maybe corrupt. Uh-oh. We'll get back to that one. Sizzle. Oh, that's tasty. Drill. I thought I downloaded yours, Tim. Eh? Really? Let's download these again then. Maybe I didn't. Download. Oh, I definitely did. It's saying copies now. I'll just do it again. Oh, Jackson, nice. Good on ya. Download. Yeah, downloaded. They're just not showing up. I'll just have to go do it in Finder. Maybe upload it again, Callan. Maybe it's a format issue. Maybe it's just a computer issue from my end. Wouldn't be surprised. Downloads. Let's put this all. Note what I'm doing too, by the way. Like I'm organizing, putting things into folders. It's a good thing to get used to. Putting stuff into folders, organizing your stuff. Ideally, you have your own sample folder. If you haven't started doing that, I want you to think about doing that. Water bottle, that must be from Jackson. A necklace, dropping phone. I hope no phones were hurt during the process of making samples. Loop thing 1. Let's try this one, Callan. Let's see if I can hear on my computer. Ooh. So I can hear on my computer, so let's just pop in this folder and hopefully it's all groovy. Water bottle, loop thing, okay. Good. Ooh, that hurts. Brilliant. I don't know why that's not showing up, but it was working on. We'll just try it anyway. Next one. Beautiful. Oh, that's nice and clean. I think it worked before, but I think my Ableton didn't like it for some reason, but we'll try it anyway. Cool. Okie dokie. So, let's get rid of some of these tracks. I realize we're briskly running out of time. I'll try and be efficient. So, let's go with Bin Smack. Let's start with the top one. So when you get your samples into your computer, what you should do is clean up. Yeah. Now I don't mean pull out iZotope RX and denoise everything. That's a lot of work. I'll do that for you, but I'm just saying recommending to you to think about cleaning up the sample. So remember last week when we talked about the shortcut of Command 4 or Control 4 on PC to turn off the grid? It makes it brilliant for editing. Oh, I can hear some warping. Let me turn the warp off. Oh, that front part's nice too. And the talking in the background's good. I kind of want to keep it, but just for argument's sake, we're just going to trim it up. Cool. So cleanup involves trying to remove some noise, some background stuff, especially in this situation where we're essentially guerrilla recording. We're kind of in the wild, in our homes. There's a lot of ambient noises. You can also, on PC, hold down Alt, then you resize the file to override the grid. Yeah, I didn't want to talk about that yet, but yes, you can. Bin Smack. Can do dropping phone now. Let's do this one. It's quirky though. I need to explain what that does as well. So, but we'll get to them when we get onto the topic of warping. Oh, the pain is real. Even that's usable, but we'll keep this to this. That's brilliant. Thank you, Jackson. What else we got here? Gas drum. This one's so clean. I love this one. Good job on this one. There's always multiple ways to skin a cat, and there's a reason why I like turning off the grid. It is very useful for fine editing like this. You will definitely find use cases for this. So good, that one. Lovely tail. And I want to edit it to the point where I still got a lot of tail to work with, because this isn't trash to me. This is potential for a lot of things, because from last week we know we can reverse stuff. So this sound reverse would be amazing. There's that extra little tone at the end, a little harmonic in there. That's just gorgeous. Yeah, I'm just going to have to kill off slightly early. But yeah, just a review from last week, you'll see that we can reverse stuff. And that's a totally legitimate way to introduce a song or go between sections of a track. Pitch it. All right, add some reverb delay. You're in healthy territory. This is gorgeous, right? Nothing is trash to me, right? So that's pitch reverse. We've done that, right? But I want to show you the third musical component I mentioned last week was tone. And of course, by nature of that, there's also time. But I want to show you those two aspects today, right? So I'm hoping loop thing works inside Ableton. If it doesn't, I'll quickly convert it, because I'm sure we can get this to work. Tunesify. Bear with me for a second. Let's go AIF loop thing. Might have been a sample rate situation, but all right, don't worry. Okay, try that. Huzzah! Okay, boom. Loop thing. This better not be on time. Oh, that's so good. Nailed it. Okay. I'm gonna crop this, so still on no grid mode here, off. I'm gonna, which is, remember, Command 4 turns it on and off. Command 4, Control 4 on a PC. This allows you to really get in there, fine tune it. And ideally, when I hit spacebar, I want to hear the sound almost immediately, if not immediately. That's perfect. Lovely. Cool. I'll push it to the beginning. Now, the reason why I asked you to record something rhythmic but not necessarily on time is because ultimately within Ableton, we have the power to manipulate time. We do that using the warp mechanic inside Ableton, which is arguably Ableton's most powerful aspect. There's a lot of practical things you can do with it. For example, you're a singer, you're a drummer, you're a guitarist, you record something and you realize your timing is a little bit shifty. So you can use this mechanic to shift your timing, which is fantastic. My drill sample, I'm going to use all of it if I can, Tim. Eh? Did I put the drill sample in there? Did I? 1 second. Downloads. The drill. You weren't kidding. It's a format though, the AAC. I don't think Ableton talks to that. No problem, because I'll convert it. Convert. Is that a Makita? Let's see. or is it a Ryobi? Either way, it sounds good. I thought I saved it in the right place, didn't I? No, I did not save it where it should have gone. Downloads, but into that folder, please, Dave. You silly goose. Boom. Where did that go? Does it not like me today? Oh, it said failed. MP3 then. Don't be so mean to me. Choose. Cool. That's better. Don't automatically put it on the cloud, you goose. All right, let's try that. Make available offline. It's just not working. That might be a re-upload situation, Tim, because for some reason it's not taking AAC, which is a shame because I like what you're thinking. That's okay. I'll show you how to export them quickly, and oh yeah, okay. Can you just drag it into the message area, like just drag it straight here? Yeah, yeah. That's okay. That's okay. These things are fiddly. All good. All good. Either way, it'll get there, hopefully. Yeah, for some reason that sound was in AAC, but it's all right. All good. We gotta start somewhere. So we got some sound. So I edited the start point. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click. Actually, not gonna even right click. I'm just gonna use my shortcut Command J, which in my head is join or Control J. What that does is it consolidates. So notice that there's no more silence at the beginning because I already trimmed it, right? Cool. Now, Ableton's warped it for me, but I don't care about what Ableton thinks. I'm going to do it myself. So I'm going to turn it off and back on. The moment this button is lit up, it means you can manipulate timing and other aspects and the tone as well, yeah? What that means is, with this sample overview that we looked at last week, we now have this extra superpower available to us, which allows us to hover above the audio events, yeah, and just look closely here. See how when I hover above certain points, there's like a little marker that appears. If I double click that, the marker is committed, and it allows me to move the audio. Move and stretch the audio. Now, the thing is, you don't have to hover over certain points, because what's happening actually is Ableton is still trying to help you. Ableton's saying, hey, look, buddy, this is a transient in the audio that you can control, because we think it's a transient. So if you were to double click here, it's a transient and you can move it. But ultimately, we can double click wherever we choose and shift the audio wherever we see fit, right? So in other words, keep in mind that I said this last week, that grid system, that quantized system that's in the arrangement view, also has a separate grid system inside the sample overview. Means you can also use the same shortcuts or use the menu to change the grid sizes or turn the grid off completely. Why that matters means that you can essentially move things to wherever you want, right? But for now, we're not going to do that because we're going to use the grid to our advantage. And we're going to take this loop thing, number one, provided to us by Callan, thank you. I'm going to turn this to rhythmic loop. And because there's a grid, you know, one bar, 2 bar, and it's set to 32 notes, 1/32 30-second notes, I can shift this to just the grids themselves, the lines, and essentially turn this seemingly random, you know, noise to something with a musical timing. Yeah. So to do so, I am merely just gonna grab this part. So I just double clicked it, just in this area. It won't work if you click here. You have to click here. Click anywhere that Ableton suggests, or click anywhere you want, but it makes sense to find the spiky bits and then move them. Yeah. So I'm going to move this here. This guy got shorter as a result. I'm going to stretch him out to about here. About here, say. This guy is still a little bit off, so I'm going to double click him again, push him right on the line here, double click. And you should make as many markers, as many locators as you need, because what happens is, if you lay a marker down, let's just say here, right? If you don't double click and commit it and you move things around, it just shifts everywhere willy-nilly. So what you should do is, if you like something, like if you like it at that position, double click to lock it down, and then double click the next one and move that, double click the next one and move that, just to really control this, right? So let me demonstrate. To make this an even 2 bars worth. Push this out a bit. Push this here, push this here. I'm just doing a very rudimentary rhythm here. And I'll push these guys out a bit to about here. Push that here. There's a little note there of sorts. Going to push that here. Let's see how this sounds like over the course of 2 bars now, with the metronome on. Keeping in mind that my default tempo is 172 BPM, so this might sound a bit too crazy, but let's just see. Let's loop it and get used to it. Right, let's just slow the tempo down a tad. That definitely works. And we can combine everything we've learned so far, volume, pitch, and all that. Reversed. Right, a lot of possibilities there, which is awesome considering the fact that we are only so far just playing with the default beats mode. For everyone here is a 99.9% chance that your Ableton is still on the beats mode by default. You can change this in the options. I've changed it millions of times to various things, and I realized beats mode is actually super useful. So mine is on beats as well, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other options to choose from. And these affect how it sounds tonally, and also how the actual clarity of this time manipulation sounds. So reason being is because, for example, if you leave it on beats, this algorithm, this warping algorithm, favors transient tightness. So it sounds more sharp and percussive. It's better at that. Tones is better at monophonic, so single voiced tones. So you might think of vocals, tones will sound pretty decent for that. Although I actually don't think it's good for that. I think it's better for like synthy sounds because it has a grainy texture to it. But yeah, the tones works pretty well for monophonic voices, texture pretty well for harmony sounds, harmonic sounds. Repitch is unique in the fact that you don't get any time stretching necessarily. You get this situation where you get a sound the same as a record turntable. So in other words, when you change, and this is one of those things I'm about to say that you will be tested on in 4 weeks. Okay. Um, the warping in general is designed in a way to allow you to manipulate time, which as a result means that if you change the tempo of your song, the sample that you had, if you warped it, it should stay in time no matter what tempo you have, right? And you've heard this. So this is the beat with the metronome in the background. If I change the tempo, the rhythm should stay the same. The timing of the sample should stay the same, just at a different tempo. I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. Yep. Yep. So as you can see, warping, the idea is to keep the timing intact while you change tempos. And also with warping, you can manipulate the pitch, as you discovered. You can manipulate the pitch anyway. Right? But in repitch, this is why I haven't finished yet, because I'm kind of explaining why repitch is different. In repitch mode, you can't change the pitch, which is weird because you go repitch. Why can't I change the pitch? There's a pitch in the title. It's because it replicates a turntable. If you're on a turntable, a vinyl turntable, if you change the pitch, you're changing the speed, but the pitch will change as a result, right? You can't manipulate the pitch after, or yeah, you can't change the pitch after. So let's just say on a turntable, you push it to +5. That means you're going 5 times faster. To a degree. It's not 5 times faster. That's stupid to say. But you're going faster, which means that you're playing at maybe 10 BPM more, and you're also playing at maybe 4 or 5 semitones higher, right? So this replicates that. And the beautiful thing about repitch, although you can't change the pitch after, is that the quality is the best. It doesn't actually time stretch and granularize. So in other words, it sounds the clearest. So even though you can't change the pitch, you have the highest quality, right? So use that for where you want. For me, I use that just for fun. When I finish a song, I put my song into a new single track in Ableton, put it on repitch and try a different tempo. It's the same fun response I get when I put a record on and change change the pitch, and I'm like, I actually like it down here. You know, it's the same kind of behavior, but not as useful for sound design unless you're doing sound design specific sessions. But again, you'll see more of this later. Complex is designed for complex audio. What most people found it good for is for vocals, right? So vocals have a lot of harmonics in it. There's sometimes harmony within a vocal take. And the reason why there's Complex and Complex Pro, I just realized my Zoom is awesome for me, but probably not good for you. So let me fix that, sorry. Before or after, none of this is destructive. You can change it whenever you like, yeah? That's why warping is so amazing in Ableton. It's an option for you to try different algorithms. But you only need to warp something. Let's just say you're recording your vocals, Morgan. You only turn it on if you need to fix a timing problem. Ideally, because warping in theory, yeah. No, not necessarily. It does, unless you're in repitch mode. So as I was saying, repitch doesn't apply a time stretch algorithm. It just behaves like a turntable. So if you change the tempo of your song, it will go down in pitch. or up in pitch, which, you know, is useful for some things, I suppose. But complex is good if you want to turn it on a vocal track and then fix the timing on some of the deliveries. And why there's a Complex Pro is because Complex came out in Ableton 8. So that's roughly 2009, 2010. And Complex Pro came out in 2011, roughly. I could be off by a year. And Pro was better, but even in those years, which is not that long ago, which is crazy, but even in those years, some computers couldn't run Complex Pro. So they gave you the option to go back in time and use the older Complex algorithm if your computer was struggling. And to be honest, that wouldn't be a big problem, but typically most people would have, in the electronic world at least, 30 plus tracks, 50 tracks, 60 tracks, sometimes even more, 100 tracks. And if you're having 100 tracks at Complex Pro, then you probably might have run into an issue. And easy fixes go back to Complex at the cost of some audio quality, right? But yes, as you can hear, I took Callan's loop thing number 1, which in context sounds like this. Let's just solo this again, metronome off. Let's just mic off Morgan for now. Yeah, I can hear the background. All good. All good. All good. Sounds like a rap song. Yeah, send it to me. Good. Good. Send it. All right. Send it over and remind me if I haven't replied, because I get caught up in a lot of stuff. Also, being a parent and whatnot. Anyway, so this is what Callan provided. Sounds great, but there's no real clear musical timing, whereas now after warping it does. Right? It's got a more specific rhythm. And yes, we can use the different warp modes to adjust how it sounds. Notice how that sounds very like digital and grainy. That might be bad to some people, but I love this stuff. I love weird artifacts. This is like joy to me. Extra. And these settings become more exaggerated if you change the pitch. Like, where the hell did that come from, right? And that's just changing the pitch. That's a severe setting of texture there. We'll go straight to Complex Pro because there's more options here. Okay. I'm pretty sure in the notes I explain the warping algorithm. So you can read within the week 2 notes of what these controls do and what they're designed to sound like. But the bottom line is you just got to play with it. And each mode has its own kind of quirk. Like, for example, the reason why I use Beats mode the most is because there's this mode called Preserve Transients, which is on by default. But the one thing I really like is the ability to change the playback. So by default, depending on how many markers you have, between the space between the markers will be looped in a sustained kind of way to make it sound kind of tight, right? Whereas you can using this slider here, make it sound shorter and glitchier. And if you want it more staccato, you can turn the loop mode off and just switch it to this single play situation. So you play and stop. And that sounds mega tight. And before you say that sounds a bit too abstract, how can you use that? Well, no, this is perfect for a lot of things. You know, you put it into context with some other drums. Yeah, where am I? Where's my drum kit? Kick and a snare. Oops. Just need 2 audio tracks. Kick, snare. Yeah, cool. Boom. There we go. Let's see how this sounds with some other drums. Boom. Just move this here. Make this one a bit shorter. And if you don't like the rhythm, just push it to where you want it to. Push this here. Yeah. So what I'm basically saying is that you might have recorded a seemingly random recording of your keys jangling or whatever, or you stepping outside on a bunch of leaves, but you can turn it into a rhythmically cool thing, right? Then you add to the fact that your one-shot sounds, you can always just quite simply pitch them, move them, reverse them, change the volume of them, and do those kind of things as well. Let's see how that sounds with the rest of this. Alright, and let's see, dropping foam. Let's push this up. This one, that rhythm was already good, but I might just push this one slightly later. And push this into texture, texture territory. And let's just crank it down here, loop that, expand this. Let's use the bin smack and unmute everything. Let's go here. Let's go half time. Boom, boom. sound-free recordings, stuff around the home can be very useful to kind of getting out that musical funk when you're just trying to look for the best sound. Why don't you just use what you have and see what you can do with it, right? Adding this warping mechanism allows us to try even more things. That's something, right? Then you add some melodic stuff and other stuff. Let's see, do I have time? I might as well use this time, this remaining 4 minutes, to tease you what we'll be doing next week. So next week we'll be using Simpler, which is a type of device in Ableton that is very common through all software. It's called a sampler. The type of instrument is called a sampler. Where's the sound I haven't used yet? I really want to use the drill sound. Oh well. That water bottle's pretty special. Let's use that. Cool. I'm going to loop this. So I'm going to I'll just show you. I'm not going to teach you yet, but I'm going to show you what you can do with this. So that was your water bottle. I think that was yours, Jackson. It's going to turn into a synth. That's what we're going to do next week. Okay, let's just do this and that, make it sound so and so. Something like that. Oh, did I switch it to one-shot mode? Silly me. Yeah. Push this forward. Whoa! Oops. Push, 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 push. So that was the water bottle. Might as well add some pitch wobble. Don't worry if you don't know what's going on yet. We'll do it next week. I can do a sub bass through that gas drum for sure, but no, we'll do it next week. So to summarize the points from today, we're continuing to control gain, pitch, reverse. We are now implementing recording of sounds around us to add to our sample pool. And we're also adding the technique of warping to manipulate tone as well as pitch and tone now. That's a new character we're able to touch. And when we combine it with the stuff we did from last week, we have this super powerful audio editing suite within not just Ableton Live, but other software has similar capabilities now. Although I must say Ableton and Bitwig are leading for me when it comes to the audio power right? So what I'd like you to do is I want you to take, just as an easy exercise for your homework, take your loop sound and use warp beats mode to turn it into a drum loop. So in other words, it's on time, right? Next week, we'll take your other two sounds, the percussive one and hopefully the pure tonal one, we'll turn them into other instruments. Okay. Any questions before I go? I realize I gotta stir my ragu. Any questions or we good? If we're good, thumbs up, react. Yeah? Cool. Cool. Wicked. All right, peeps. Have a great week. See ya same time next week. All right, people. Bye. And good luck on the move, Tim. Bye.